I think another good thing about the diploma program, well, for us, this was basically our class size. So we had really small classes, which we were able to learn a lot faster. I don't know how it's going to be for you guys, because a lot more people are doing DP, so that might be a challenge for you guys, the class size, but for us it was a benefit.
It's nice knowing that, for me especially, that 15 other kids were going through the same thing as me. So if I was having like a mental breakdown, I could always call one of these guys and they would know exactly how, what would be going on. So just knowing that you have a support group through IB is like really awesome. And like it's hard to find that in college, but if you do, like that's one of the benefits. Like
I'm going to touch on the community aspect yet again, and this was kind of the first major time in my school career that I was with a group of people who loved learning and were committed to learning. And so you just get in classes and you're not doing silly things like talking while the teacher's talking, because you're all concentrated on learning, and it actually becomes fun. And we would have awesome conversations about biology and chemistry, and you just really get into the learning. And it was just, that's probably helped me love learning a lot more. And I carried that on to college, and I found the same environment there, and it's really special. And I would say that's the biggest thing.
Theory of knowledge was actually like one of the best classes in IB, and that's probably because you delve into like the depths of a lot of topics. And taking it with Miss Gudenrath, which all of you will have her your senior year for English. She is a pretty awesome teacher, and having discussions with her in class is just like wonderful. And she it's not just like the work that you do in the class, like it's not like you have to turn in papers and all this stuff, it's like you really have to go in depth. So we would like take different perspectives and we would just look at a variety of things, not only in our lives, but like just psychology, like a lot of studies we would look at sometimes, and just like she would show us videos like TED Talks, where a lot of things we would cover in TOK, and we would like look at TED Talks and like a lot of the things like futuristic things that are happening, but also like profound things with like different studies and everything that are going on, and we would just like talk about it as a class. So that was, especially with the class size and like having background knowledge of like where a lot of these people come from, it was a nice class to just like go to in the morning and like be able to sit down and have like deep discussions with like your really close friends. And it was like an ethical class at times, but at the same time it was never like we would bash each other with like discussions. It was like a really nice class. So
when I went into DP, I didn't actually not necessarily want to, but I wasn't the kind of person who was going to go and join a whole bunch of groups. But because we had to fulfill they used to be called Karens, I can't think of it. CAS. So that hasn't been mentioned yet. That's creativity, activity, and service. And so that's another requirement for the DP program, where you just have to get involved in other groups or do things outside of school that are creative and they keep you active, and they help out the community. And so in order to do that, and because my best friend does everything, which I'm sure she'll tell you about, I got involved in a lot of groups. I was in student council, I was in French Honor Society, a lot of other things that I really can't remember right now. But there's a lot, and with that I still had time to do all my homework, get A's, and I had time to hang out with my DP friends as well as a group of friends outside of that, and I had a boyfriend the whole time, and the time management always worked out. Okay, so first off, my senior year, I did AP Calculus as well as IB HL Math, and I would say, just to address the difference there, not to bash the AP program, but at all, but it was definitely like Ms. Flaherty said, that they teach you to the test. And so it was a very unique experience for me to be in both those classes, because I saw them like right next to each other. So we would go to IB HL Math, we'd be looking at proofs, we'd be discussing how problems come up, my favorite quote from Mr. McMaster, he's like, we give you the screwdriver and the wood, and on the test you have to build a shelf. And so it's really about like being interactive and learning how to think about math problems, just not regurgitating equations. Then on AP Calculus, it was the exact opposite. It was learning the equations, it was memorizing the stuff, and which is fine because that's like learning calculus. And it did help you get the AP credit, and then you can carry that over to college. So it was fine, but it definitely, again, was helping you think for yourself. And so that's another big thing about the IB program, I think. My first semester, it's been pretty easy. It seemed like a lot of the people around me who went to public school, they thought it was really difficult. And I remember one person would like almost crying. She thought it was so much work, and I'm like, I went to the class and I think I can like ace the the final, and it did. So I think pretty much you just learn how to teach yourself kind of, and that really helps a lot.
The workload of IB definitely helped me at School of Mines. It's kind of known for a rigorous engineering program, and they warn you that it's going to be a big time commitment and you really have to study hard. And so I felt that coming from IB was a pretty much even playing. So IB just took me right into that instead of having to work really hard to get adapted to college. So yeah.
Well, my class was really easy just because like it was mostly review from IB, so that definitely helps with the
Courses-wise, I was taking a lot of science courses my senior year, and because of that, I feel like science now in college is a lot more doable because I know the material. So back then it was hard, but now I really enjoy it. So.
This past semester, I got to skip a lot of the general chemistry, science classes. So my class load was like, I had some easy courses like calculus 2 because of HL math, and I had some hard classes like organic chemistry. The IB really prepared me for organic chemistry. HL chemistry was a very good introductory course of organic. And in organic chemistry, you don't want to memorize all the reactions, but you want to like understand them. So IB really helped me learn to not memorize information, but really understand it.
So just repeat a lot of what everyone else has already said. Since I got a lot of credits, I'm technically going to be a junior this upcoming semester. And since I'm pre-med, my parents are really grateful for that because they're paying for my undergrad. Like everyone else has said, I'm in some higher level courses, which has been really cool because I'm really interested in that. And I saw a lot of kids this semester, because they're away from their parents aren't on them all the time, like, you have to do your homework, and my parents never had to do that with me. IB taught me that motivation. So when a lot of kids were struggling with that, I really didn't have any issues with time management. So.
Yeah, one thing that IB taught me to do personally is not procrastinate. I would start studying for tests a lot, like ahead of time. And so I know that there were some of my friends this year were getting really bad grades on like bio exams, and like I loved bio this year, one, because it was like HL bio all over again for me, so I like knew everything. And so in my residence hall, I actually help a lot of kids with bio because I know the material and it's kind of like a second liking for me, but at the same time, like a lot of those kids come in like not knowing how to study for those exams, and they try studying the night before, and college exams you can't really study the night before, at least for the classes that I'm taking you can't. So knowing how to study has really helped me in college. Like being able to be like, no, you can't study the night before, you need to start at least a week in advance, like helped me with finals and a lot of my first exams. Extracurriculars, I was in a lot of clubs in high school, and that helped me a lot with a leadership course that I'm in college right now. At CU, they have a leadership class called the President's Leadership Class, and you have to go through like an application and an interview process, and 60 students are selected for it. So it is a pretty like intense class, and being able to hold like officer positions at school, as well as being in the IB program, helped me for the rigor of the class. Like leadership, you usually think of it as like kind of like an extracurricular, kind of like an elective, but that is the exact opposite of PLC at CU. There's a lot of papers that you have to write, and we go through a lot of ethical discussions. So just knowing that I was able to get into the program and doing really well in it right now is because I was, able to hold like officer positions while being in IB. So.